right here in Indiana. In this video, we're going to be showing you a few different stages of plantings that you might expect once you start to establish native warm season grasses and wildflowers. So today we'll get to the really pretty plantings with all the beautiful flowers and grasses, but we thought we'd start out with a first year planting, which is in its sort of ugly stage. So if you look behind me, you really can't see much. We're looking at a lot of common ragweed, a lot of annual weeds, things that people don't necessarily want out in their fields. However, if we look underneath, there's actually a lot of really good stuff coming up. So for instance, we have partridge pea, which is a really nice little annual that comes up the first year. We've spotted blue vervain. We've spotted some milkweed that the landowners added, along with some black-eyed Susans and some little purple coneflower seedlings. So the saying goes that native warm season grass plantings sleep before they leap. And this is a really great example showing that there's a lot of stuff out there growing those deep roots, ready to leap up next year and get a little bit more exciting for the landowners. In the meantime, things like common ragweed and other annual weeds provide a lot of food and other resources for our native wildlife.
Hello, Ryan Owen here with Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever. We're out here today taking a look at a beautiful CRP planting. What we've got is a 2-year-old planting. This was seeded in December of 2017. So we've had all of last season and all of this season to pump a lot of growth into this planting. What we see here is really a pretty decent planting, and I would say, if I'm giving it a grade, I would give this an A. So by this point, we've got a lot of our perennial grasses starting to bloom. You can see some switchgrass here on either side of me. We've got some of our perennials that are blooming. So I've got some amazing bee balm right here, or bergamot. We also still have a lot of our annual showy plants here. So there's a lot of black-eyed Susan blooming around. There's some species we didn't plant. So you can see a lot of daisy fleabane, and there's also some old field aster that's come in on its own. What I think is great about this type of planting, or this stage of a planting, is just how open it is at ground level. So if you look behind me, you would think that this entire planting is going to be so dense that nothing's moving through it. But if you were to look down at the ground here, you can see that there is all of this amazing space for quail, chicks or pheasant chicks to scurry around in, find food, and evade predators without getting caught up in the vegetation. So one of the things that always jumps out to me is when folks are thinking about managing these stands, whether you're using prescribed fire or even strip spraying or strip disking, is you'd like to ideally get back to this kind of a habitat where you've got a lot of this open ground network for those animals to move through.
Hi there! Today I'm in a slightly older pollinator planting than the ones we've been looking at previously. This planting is in its 6th growing season, so at this point it's starting to get pretty mature. You can see that even 6 growing seasons in, we have a pretty good wildflower diversity. We have a lot of mountain mint, different sunflowers, tall coreopsis, and the remains of some wild bergamot and penstemon, which are all great pollinator plants. So as far as serving the purpose of a pollinator planting, this one's doing pretty well. Right now I can see a bumblebee, a honeybee, lots of butterflies enjoying our pollinator planting, so things are going pretty well in that regard. However, this planting is starting to have some of the issues that you see in more mature pollinator plantings. One of these is cool season grass, so this was previously turf grass that was converted into pollinators, and we are seeing some of that cool season grass come back. So ideally, the owners of this planting would want to do some sort of management to decrease that. We are also getting a pretty thick thatch layer at this point. So something like quail or pheasants wouldn't be able to move through this effectively. However, for an older planting, this is looking great and providing a lot more habitat than the turf grass before it would have.
Thanks for watching. For more information on habitat creation and management, contact your local Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever Farm Bill wildlife biologist. You can find your biologist by going to pheasantsforever.org, scrolling to the bottom of the page, and clicking on the Find a Biologist link. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/INPFQF.